QAnon and the conspiracy theories that emerged from it in recent years has had a strong impact on American families of all kinds. It's told in the new book, The Quiet Damage, QAnon and the Destruction of the American Family, by investigative reporter with a specialty in the tech world, Jessalyn Cook. And Jessalyn joins us now from Cambridge. Jessalyn, thanks for being with me. The book is scary, but also incredibly informative. And I want to start in this place, which is, it used to be that QAnon seemed this sort of ethereal entity that was out there somewhere. And what you write about in the book through the stories of 5 different families essentially is that actually it's not just reaching uneducated people, it's reaching educated people, lawyers and such. How did this happen? How did it get in the mainstream?
It's a good question, and it's really staggering to a lot of people that something as wild and outlandish as QAnon could become such a big part of our political culture. And you're absolutely right. There's this misconception that only crazy or unintelligent people could buy into these kinds of theories. But QAnon has partly, and because of the pandemic, it has really spread its tentacles and entered the mainstream in really insidious ways. In COVID times, early COVID times, there were a lot of people desperate for answers, fueled by fear, and there were these information voids. We just didn't know what was going on, and QAnon really rushed to insert its own narratives and to draw in scared, terrified people. And so it appeals to different people for different reasons. There are different unmet needs that can be fulfilled by movements like QAnon, by really wild, mystifying conspiracy theories to the rest of us.
Maybe one of the answers, at least as I read your book, is that these conspiracies that we read about are akin to sort of, as you write, a crutch or an obsession. It seems like it could be an addiction, like alcohol, that kind of thing that people get into. Talk about how that kind of thing can develop in otherwise seemingly normal people.
In my book, I spent 3 years talking to hundreds of families, and I profile 5 who all come from different walks of life. And you really see it take hold of these ordinary people who QAnon isn't just a hobby for them. It isn't just a curiosity. It becomes a full-blown obsession, an addiction, as you say. People are spending hours and hours and hours, day and night, consuming this kind of content. And what makes it so alluring and such a compulsion is that it's very participatory. You're not just an observer, you are taking part in it. You're a member of this movement. And there's a storyline in QAnon that comes with a supposed happy ending. There's supposed to be this so-called storm when all the evil elites, the so-called deep state, is going to be toppled, and all of these ordinary folks who are helping to do quote unquote research to advance the movement, they're going to be part of this victory. They are contributing to bringing about a better world for all. And so it becomes not just a curiosity, but almost a duty. I spent a lot of time talking to QAnon believers who said they do this because they love their country and they love their families and they think that they are doing what's best for everyone. And so that's why it has such a hold over so many of us.
Yeah, I'm going to pull a clarification out of what you said, because while I talked about the fact that you follow 5 families, in many ways those families represent hundreds of people that you actually talk to for this book. You know, from an emotional perspective, and I'm going to quote you here, you say QAnon allows the lonely to find belonging, the aimless to find direction, the hurt and angry to find validation. But here's why the book scared me, because you said, when somebody actually gets out of this QAnon world, they're actually now more vulnerable than when they got in.
It's not easy to come out. I mean, there are a lot of not so successful stories of people trying to pry their loved ones out of the QAnon rabbit hole. But people are drawn in by these unmet needs. As I mentioned, maybe they're seeking a sense of belonging. And so to get out of QAnon, they need to fulfill those needs. It's not like they can necessarily be shaken out of their delusions or have them fact-checked away. They need to address the underlying issue. And that's very difficult, especially because when you emerge from something like QAnon, a lot of people look at you differently. They look at you like you're bad and stupid and that you fell for something terrible. And so reintegrating into your pre-QAnon community is not as easy as one might think. One of the people I profile in the book, Alice, when she emerges from QAnon, her friends aren't there anymore. Some of her family isn't there anymore. They've written her off as someone they no longer want to associate with. And so this desire for community that led her into QAnon for the first place, it called back to her again because she didn't have a soft place to land coming out.
You even write that this, it's not like we've got these adults who are accepting this stuff and maybe one day they're out of it and this thing ends. Because you even talk about little Jonah, 7 years old, young people, a new generation that are getting hit with this, which means in some ways it seems that the QAnon conspiracy theories may replenish themselves through upcoming generations.
QAnon has really shed its branding. You don't hear the word QAnon uttered quite as much as you used to, but the ideas have just blended in. They have not gone away. They've been diluted. They're repeated even by some of our elected leaders and by very influential figures online. And I do have a good deal of concern for young people because they are getting online earlier than ever before. They're spending more time online than ever before, and they are traversing the most complicated information landscape in our history. They're looked at as so-called digital natives. They grow up in a social media world, but that doesn't mean they're born with the skills to know what a deepfake is or to understand how algorithms are warping our reality, are dividing us. And so kids, despite this belief that they just know what they're doing online, they are really vulnerable to disinformation too, and it's only getting more advanced. We're in a world of runaway tech, and so it worries me that kids are exposed to this stuff so early and so much.
Talk a little bit more about the role of media influencers who are peddling this. It's raising it to a feverish pitch. And when you have somebody so prominent, such as President Trump, who in just the last few days has been quoting and bringing some QAnon theories back in. I mean, is any media influencer the power here? Or does somebody with the kind of influence of President Trump, does that make even a bigger difference?
It makes a huge difference. I think there were a lot of families who had lost loved ones to QAnon who had maybe been hopeful that they were starting to gain some doubt. Hugh, the shadowy figure at the center of this movement, he's been dormant for quite some time, and there's been this hope that QAnon believers might be starting to drift away from the movement. But days like Wednesday, when, as you mentioned, former President Trump, is reposting explicit QAnon propaganda on Truth Social, his ex-Twitter alternative, that undoes so much progress. It draws people right back in. It gives them vindication. You can look at the reaction online. A lot of QAnon influencers pointed to the post that Trump shared and said, see, this is real. It's coming. It's happening. And so these powerful people, these elected leaders who weaponize conspiracy theories for their own gain, these grifters and these online figures who spread mis and disinformation and fearmonger to profit off of people's attention and clicks, they're doing so much damage to people on the other side of the screen who are just going deeper and deeper down these rabbit holes, often in search of truth, and they're being taken advantage of and isolated badly from their families.
Jesslyn, just about 15 seconds for this. The fix, you say, is mental health concern and care, right? Is that essentially what we need, is mental health services?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more about people's well-being than necessarily their IQ.
All right. Thanks for the quick answer. The book is called The Quiet Damage, QAnon, the Destruction of the American Family. For more information, check out JessReports.com or PenguinRandomHouse.com. Thank you, Jesslyn. Good to see you. We'll be right back.
Thank you.